So I recently shared a video discussing the idea of building relationships with your clients to be able to generate a secondary income utilizing real estate. Now, I shared this video on multiple platforms, multiple social media platforms, and I got a surprisingly amount of people asking me questions about it, so I thought I would take the time today to share and elaborate on that thought. Now, as hairstylists, we charge per haircut. So let's assume, for the sake of this example, that it takes you an hour to cut someone's hair. Well, if you're charging, let's just say for the sake of this example, $35 for a haircut, you're making $35 an hour. But as you slowly build your clientele and get busier and get better, you can raise your prices and make more per hour. That's a great way, obviously, to generate more income. In the early 2000s, I want to say 2001, maybe 2002, we're talking 20 years ago, because it's 2021, about to be 2022, I was charging, or I should say I was being compensated over $100 per haircut. And I'm not going to disclose the exact amount because it depended on who I was cutting. It depended on if I was going to them versus them coming to me, but I was being compensated as much as $500 for a haircut, but on average, I was being compensated over $100 per haircut. So I was in a place 20 years ago at the time, and I kind of feel that depending on where you live in the country, small town, I don't know, Nebraska, Wyoming, I have no idea, small town Montana, Idaho, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of luck charging over $100 per haircut 20 years ago in 2001, let alone today. But where I'm going with all this is you can increase your price, make more money as a hairstylist, but why not generate multiple streams of income? A secondary income. If you look at the wealthiest people in the world, they typically have more than one stream of income. And so the concept and idea of what I had shared in that previous video is generating a second stream of income utilizing real estate. Now you have your whole clientele who come to you and share, how their life's going while you're cutting their hair. They tell you that they're selling a house or buying a house, and why not build that relationship and utilize the opportunity to generate another stream of income. This secondary income can definitely be more advantageous than increasing your haircut price to $100 per hour or $100 per haircut, whatever it may be. And again, keep in mind, there's only certain cities in this country, there's only certain markets that you're going to be able to even charge that type of number for a haircut. Depending on, again, where you live, it sounds great to be able to raise your prices from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 to 70, 80, 90, 100 for a haircut. But if you live in a market where people don't pay that, that's not the norm, then it's going to be difficult to raise your price. You can charge $100 per haircut all you want, but if no one comes to you, what's the point? But people do need housing. People buy and sell housing all the time. And in many cases, the commission that a real estate agent will make, or an investor who will purchase the property to keep it as a rental and cash flow, or fix and flip it, the profit they'll make on a fix and flip is going to be significantly higher than if you charge $100 per hour, or per haircut, I should say. So what I wanted to share, and able to cut hair, you've got to be licensed as a real estate agent. Now, depending on where you live, the amount of hours you have to go to real estate school is going to vary. It's not a whole lot. So I would look into it wherever you live and just see how many hours. Here where I live, it's if you go full-time 8 hours a day, you can get your real estate license in as little as 14 days. So it's not like you're going to school for a year. So Google wherever you live in Texas, California, wherever you live, Google, real estate, how to get your real estate license. It'll probably tell you how many hours you need to go to school. It'll probably share with you some schools you can go to. Today, everything's virtually online, so you could probably get most of your classes done online. Actually, even before the pandemic, a lot of it was virtual. I did a lot of my classes online a long, long time ago when I became a licensed real estate agent. Now, here's the thing. depending on what your average or median price for housing is in your market, the average traditional commission is about 3%. So here in my market where I live, the median price point is just over $500,000. It's just over 500. 3% of $500,000 is $15,000. So if you help a client buy or sell a home, that commission is $15,000. Let's just say you do one extra, or just one, let's just gotten an extra $7,500. Let's do the math again. I don't know how much you charge for a haircut, but take $7,500 divided by how much you charge for a haircut, and that's how many haircuts you'd have to do to make an extra $7,500 that year. Now, that's if you're out there helping somebody buy, right? Because now if you're helping a client buy, you've got to go out there and actually show the houses, and that's where it's going to be beneficial to partner up with a team, partner up. Now you're listing the property, so you don't have to show houses at all. You're the listing agent. You're the agent who represents the seller. Other realtors who have buyers are the ones who are going to show your listing, your seller's house. So in those situations, let's say you have a client that comes to you and gets a haircut, and during that haircut, they share with you they're looking to sell their house. At that particular time, you work with them as their listing agent, you know, on your day off or one day after you're off cutting hair, or maybe you take a half a day from your salon, or you leave early. Maybe you leave an hour early from your salon, and you go and you take the pictures of the house, of your client's house that they're selling, and put those pictures. You go back home and upload those pictures onto the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service, which is the place that all realtors will list homes. And then once it's listed, other realtors will show your house. You really don't even have to do a whole lot, maybe answer some phone calls, some text, still go to work and cut hair. But in this particular case, you don't even have to split unless you want to get somebody to do all the work. But if you do all the paperwork, and you can do that after work, let's say, or on your days off, because you don't have to show the house because you're the selling agent, the listing agent, you won't even have to split that commission. So in that case, that's an extra $15,000 in, you know, give or take, depending on the price of the home, depending on what market you're in. That's an extra $15,000 in your pocket. Now, if you live in a market like Seattle or California, different parts of Los Angeles where it's more expensive, then your commission is going to even be bigger, right? So let's say if your average home from wherever you live, the community where you live is $700,000, then 3% of that is $21,000. So you would potentially make a commission of $21,000 helping one of your clients sell their house. Again, think about how many haircuts you would have to do to make an extra $21,000 that year. So yes, we do want to eventually keep raising the price of our haircut. Why not? We want to be compensated more for the same amount of time it takes to cut someone's hair. If it's going to take me the same amount of time, I want to be compensated as much as possible for that same amount of time. So yes, we will continue to raise our prices and build our clientele and do what we need to do to be able to be compensated a higher amount for our haircuts, but at the same time, the real estate commission. And can you imagine how many haircuts you have to do to make an extra 50? Let's just say 30 for the sake of this example, an extra $30,000 by the end of the year. Now, that's if you flip it, but let's just say you don't want to flip because that's a whole nother world that you don't want to get into. We all have to start somewhere. I recommend, you know, getting started. I think it's a great idea if you have the opportunity to buy a property and fix and flip it. In my personal opinion, that is better than being the listing agent because you're going to, again, be compensated higher for your time. But let's just say that you want to just be a realtor. You just want to keep life super simple. You absolutely love cutting hair. You have no desire to go in and fix and flip a house. You just want to do real estate commission, partner up with someone, have them do the work on the buying side. You do the work on the listing side or whatever it may be. We talked about a commission in my market being approximately $15,000. Well, what if you just did 2 in a single year? You did one the first 6 months, the first half of the year, and you did another one the second half. That's an extra $30,000 by the end of the year. That's taking your family to Disneyland. That's taking your family to Hawaii. That's taking whoever you want to anywhere for $30,000 extra dollars by the end of the year. That's like some fun play money. Plus, you don't want to spend it all, of course. Plus, you have that extra money to invest in investment properties or whatever it is that you want to invest in. But that's just doing 2 transactions as a realtor, utilizing your relationships with your clients. And again, if it's something that you're passing off to a partner where you're doing very minimal work, or you're keeping it in-house and keeping all the profit, again, that's the idea. That's the concept that I was sharing in that first video, where, you know, it's great. I see all these videos out there that say, hey, whatever it may be per hour. Yes, we want to do that. That's great, grand and dandy. And again, you probably aren't going to raise your prices a whole very high, because, I mean, let's just face it, the market isn't there to pay for it. You can raise your price, but no one's going to come pay it. So raising your prices is great. But again, it really depends on where you live, right? You can watch all these videos you want on how to raise your price, but your market will dictate, for the most part, how high you can raise your price. However, everybody, like I said, needs housing, and people are going to buy and sell. And the real estate commissions that you'll make, or the fix and flip profits that you'll make, or the cash flow appreciation that you'll make on a buy and hold will significantly be drastically higher than the amount that you potentially can raise your price for a haircut. So I wanted to kind of elaborate on that, share that with you. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down in the comment section below. You know, if you're just finding me, you're just finding these videos, my background was for 2 decades. I was a hairstylist to the rich and famous in New York City, 5th Avenue. And I was born and raised in small town Salt Lake City, and I moved out to New York to pursue the world of fashion, became a high-end hairstylist on 5th Avenue in New York City. Again, just small town Salt Lake City kid, moving out to New York, 2 decades of high-end fashion, moved back to Salt Lake City. When I moved back to Salt Lake City, I lost all of my clientele, of course, my haircutting clientele in New York City, because they were obviously not going to follow me to Salt Lake for a haircut. So I had to decide if I was going to build a new clientele and start over building a new clientele, or just start over doing something else. And I had invested in rental properties as a hairstylist. When I was a hairstylist in New York City, I bought some rental properties. So when I moved back to Salt Lake City, I thought, you know what? I'm going to start over and do real estate. I'm just going to start over. And so for the last 13, 14 years, I've been fixing and flipping houses now as my primary career. And I have multiple streams of income that I've mentioned before, where I have an invention, I published a book, but as my primary career, I now fix and flip houses, and I still have models and clients that I will cut. Obviously, you see them on this channel, on the tutorial videos, but a phenomenal resource to be able to generate potential investment properties that I purchase, or listings that I'll assist clients, are coming from clients. So hopefully this video is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down in the comment section below. I would love to assist and help kind of share ideas with any of you. If you have questions and comments about remodeling homes, fixing and flipping houses, buying rental properties, or simply how to do long layers, let me know. I will be happy to get back to you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be sharing, based off of the reaction I got on all the questions I got in regards to investing in real estate and generating income through real estate. I'm going to continue making these videos alongside, of course, making the haircutting videos as well. So on that note, I want to thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon.